Hello, my YouTube world. It's Johnny Mow. I just got these in the mail yesterday. These are my G5 Gators. These are for my my fall leaf cleanups, and I got two sets. One set for each mower, and I have a backup set that I can keep sharpened. And what I like to do as soon as I get them is I sharpen them because they come dull. As you can see, this is just a flat out blunt tip. That's not a very good tip for cutting grass. The reason why blades don't come sharpened anymore is because someone probably sued the manufacturer because they got cut. So now what they do is they just come like literally blunt tipped. I mean, look, this is just, that's not going to cut. That'll chew grass. That ain't going to do much. But I'm ready for my fall setup, ready to get ready. I just took these blades off. I just did some morning maintenance. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the difficulties with these types of blades on some mowers. Maybe not on all mowers, but I noticed on my Toro Turbo Force deck and also my ICD deck, this happens right here between the center blade and the discharge chute blade. For some reason, there's an air vortex in there produced by those, and they'll leave a blades of grass uncut, like a little strip of line. It's not going to matter much in the fall, but if you're trying to run them during the year when the grass is growing really high, you're going to have some issues with that. Now, this blade, the reason why I don't like them is I like the ability to cut the grass smaller into smaller pieces. But what happens is it starts getting cut way too much in there, and then they bind together, especially if they got chlorophyll and they're wet, and they make little snowballs and they just spit them out the side. These blades here cause a cut and throw, and what happens is you get all that grass out of that deck, and it's not constantly being recut and recut and recut, and then what happens is you end up with a lot of clumps. I like these blades for side discharging. This is the longer cell blade, and I like these blades for side discharging. I do not like them for bagging because it overwhelms the bagger. So these will go on in a couple weeks when the grass finally starts to slow down. It is growing through the roof right now. It's hard to keep up. Double cutting a lot of lawns. I don't mind double cutting. I hate triple cutting. And so far I haven't had to do a lot of triple cutting, and I'm happy about that. But once I get into triple cutting, that's when the bagger just goes on. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about grass types and why it's important to find a deck for your style of grass. Now remember, I cut very high nitrogen filled lawns, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to find a deck that can actually do that. So right here, this species of grass is called Kentucky Blue. It has a little bit of rye in it, but it's majority Kentucky Blue. As you can see, it's airy, and what I mean by airy is air can pass through the blades. Very nice, easy grass to cut, and it's a very beautiful green mixture of grass. Greens up really well. Very nice grass to cut. Even when the lawn gets really extremely high, it's side discharge as well, because see, there's air moving through there, a lot of air. Now, same lawn. Now we're going to go to the problematic grasses that we have here in the Northeast. This is fine fescue and bent grass. As you can see, no air is moving through that. There's no air move. It's so thick. See, look, all the way down. Look how thick that is. There's no air. In fact, you can see the bottom of it because it's not getting air. You see how it's brown on the bottom? It's not getting any air, whereas that's not the case with the Kentucky Blue. Now, what happens with this is it never dries out either. So I was cutting grass yesterday. I had a lawn that was 8 inches high that was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, was just totally soaked because there's no way to dry this out. The sun can't get down there. The air's not moving the grass to do this. So that's the problem. This is our problematic grass. This is bent grass and fine fescue. Now look how tall that is. I cut this at 3.5. So what happens is a lot of the older lawns around here, Kentucky Blue and rye lawns generally last between 15 to 20 years. And that's if you take care of them right, because they need about 6 pounds of nitrogen throughout the year to maintain that lawn for 15 to 20 years. What happens is once that Kentucky Blue starts to get hurt, the bad mixtures, the the bent grass and the fine fescues move in. And that's what I have a lot of. I have a lot of the fine fescue bent grass lawns that come with the older development houses. They've been there for about 20 years now, and all the back grasses are moving in. And they get highly fertilized. And what happens is they get so high. So the normal process would be, hey, let's just raise it up a ½ inch and catch it up when it slows down. The problem with a fine fescue and a bent grass lawn is you can't cut above 3.5 inches. You can. I can take it to 4. It'll just lay it right down. And what happens is when you lay it down, when it pops, it'll pop right back up. 3 hours later, you'll get a call. Hey, did you even cut my grass? There's grass sticking up everywhere. That's the problem I have. And I'm trying to explain it to people. I'm not saying that the Northeast has grasses that can't be cut, but they are very picky. And the prime example of pickiness is the Triton Exmark deck was removed from the market because of these Northeast grasses. I heard people down south was ticked. That thing mowed unbelievable. But these Northeast grasses, and specifically two types of Northeast, the fine fescue and the bent grass. Now, we don't have tall fescue around here. We have perennial. We have some rye, a lot of Kentucky blue, but the Kentucky blue must be maintained. A lot of the lawns that have a Kentucky blue rye mix are generally wiped out within 7 to 8 years because they're not properly fertilized and they're not properly, taken care of. And then right away, the bent grasses move in. And bent grass can stand to be cut very, very, very low. But because it's a fertilized lawn, you want to keep it around 3.5 inches so it can withstand the drought. The good thing about bent grass is it hates 80-degree weather. So once the summer comes, that bent grass becomes a non-issue. So about 4 weeks in the spring and about 3 weeks in the fall, these lawns are, so about 7 weeks total, you have problematic issues that just destroy every deck. Now this ICD deck struggles in those conditions. Every mower I've had struggles in these conditions. I think Exmark did the best deck with it. Let me see, trying to think. Exmark, the Toro does pretty good, the ICD does pretty good, but it's just a problematic lawn. And because the Exmark and the ICD and the Toro is more of a throw and go deck, well, it leaves it not clumpy, but it leaves it very thick. So you got to run over it. I just raise the deck the whole way up on the Ferris, and it disperses the clumps very well. Not a big issue, but you got to realize that some grass types in your area could be problematic, and recognizing that and then matching the deck to that problem. So if I have 40 lawns and 28 of them are bent grass fine fescue mixes, and I buy a mower that can't handle that, you're going to be, out of those, half of your lawn mowing is going to be problematic, and it's going to make you miserable. So matching a deck to your area is very important. What I suggest you do is, first of all, recognize the grass species that you're cutting the majority of. The problematic grass species that I have here in the Northeast. Now, I'm centered. I'm kind of real close to the Midwest, and I'm in that transitional zone from Midwest to Northeast. The further east you go, the more of the Northeast you get. I'm right there on the border. I'm probably 30 miles from, I would say, the Midwest. So finding that problematic grass that struggles with the deck is very, very important. So matching the deck to that, what I suggest you do is go around what's on the trailers of different people and say, oh, okay, so I'm seeing a large, huge group of skags, and I'm like, well, that lets me know that skags can handle it, because if skag could handle it, it couldn't handle it, you wouldn't see all these people using skag. Or if you see a large group, like you come around here, Exmarks rule the roost, no doubt. Now, Ferris is coming along now. Ferris right now is outselling Exmark in our local dealer probably 8-1. And I think that has more to do with a pricing plan. The pricing starting point of the Exmark's just pretty much out of control. So Ferris is doing well. But if you took the deck design, they've just ruled the roost around here. I mean, I would say there's a lot more Exmarks than anything. Now, I am seeing a lot more Ferrises now, a lot more Toros. Now, Toro does really well up here in the Northeast. Not too bad. It does struggle in those areas. You get to the bent grass with the fine fescue mix with a wet lawn. Like, it's soaked right now. Everything's soaked. This will not dry out. These lawns will be wet, especially those lawns, all day. My front caster tires going over the lawns will be absolutely wet. So that becomes a very big issue. But whatever's in your area, it might be Gravely, it might be Exmark, it might be Dixie Chalk, it might, whatever's in your area. That means the majority of people found that it cuts good. So in my area, Exmark rules the roost. I would say followed by Ferris and Toro. Now, we have a little bit of we have some Skags. We have 2 companies that have Skags here. Not a lot of Skags at all. Now, if I go 20 miles west, Skag rules the roost over there. So 20 miles west, and you'll see a lot more Skags. Probably has a lot to do with dealers and deals and stuff like that. But Exmark definitely rules the roost around here. So that's what I suggest. When you're looking at a mixture of grass, look at what the problematic ones. Look to see if it's airy. So if a Kentucky bluegrass grows up to about 9 inches tall in a week, and it can because it's highly fertilized, then you have to look and see, is that cuttable, bringing it down to 3.5 inches, or sometimes the max height I'll go around here is 3 3/4. Once you reach 4 inches here, it cuts okay, but it doesn't cut great. It leaves too many stringers, and it leaves way too much push down look. But the lower you go, so I like to cut all my lawns around 3.5. I will cut, the lowest I'll go is 2 3/4. That's it for me. So the low as I'll go, and that would be like a lawn, like my side lot here is full of weeds. It's just a lawn that just I don't even care about. It's like a little field there, and I just mow it down to 2 3/4. That's as low as I'll go. For me, that's as low as I'll go. You can go lower, but I don't suggest it. I know some people say that you can go 2 inches. Like, I know when I go to school every year at Penn State for my certifications, they tell you, 2 inches during the later months to knock it down. I don't do that. I just think it causes too much scalping, and that probably has to do with my deck because it's so much larger. Going at 2 inches would scalp. I found that 2 3/4 with the 61-inch deck won't scalp as much. So, if you have any questions about this, remember, matching your deck to your grass design, whatever your grass species is, match your deck to it. What's in your area, what works, identifying the majority of what you're cutting. That's very, very important. I have 2 lawns that have zoysia grass in it. The easiest grass I cut up here is zoysia because it never gets out of hand. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you later, and enjoy your day. I hope that this video helped you. I hope that it helps educate you on deck design and grass species, and I hope that you're able to choose a mower to best fit your business in your area, because that's the most important. I want you guys to make money, no matter if it's a Ferris, a Toro, a Dixie Chalk, whatever it is. I want you to make money, and if you're going to cut half of your grasses and your deck can't handle it, then you're going to be a miserable person 50% of the time, and I don't want that for you guys. I want you to be able to make money and enjoy this. Talk to you soon.